Animals function and structure. Topic for today: body of the animal, reproduction system, control system, homeostasis, and feedback mechanism. We have the quote here: the world was made for all creatures. So we have here the organs of the body, like the eye, kidney, liver, heart. We have there the musculo and skeletal system. Here we include here the skeletal, the muscle, and we have the digestive system. Here's the example of muscle and skeletal, organ, and digestive system. We have here the reproductive system for the male and female to reproduce and make another species. Circulatory system to regulate and circulate the blood. We have there also the respiratory system for breathing, inhaling, and exhaling. Nervous system and sensory system for sense of touch. Yeah, for sense of touch. We have here the urinary system for urinating. We have here the lymphatic system. This kind of liquid is working as the immune system of an animal. We have here the reproductive system. Sexual reproductive is the reproductive system that the way of making is having a sexual intersect with the two kind of animal, man and women. And we have here the asexual reproduction where they don't need to have male or female and sexual intersection. They just produce another species by the sense of cutting them. Control system, this is the system that to control the animals thinking, movement, and how it act. Homeostasis and feedback mechanism. Homeostasis, this is the explanation definition of homeostasis. Homeostasis refer to the state in which systems such a human body remain more or less stable in the cell tissue, organ, and organ system of the entire body. It is work to remain many different variable in a narrow range of capable with life. And we have here the feedback. And feedback is the answer to a something that happened to a human body. Here, maintaining homeostasis. Yan. We have here the stimulus, sensor, control center, and effector. They are connected to each other by they are just connected to each other. The stimulus is the trigger to behavior. The response provide modulated variable, usually in the state stimulus indicates that the value or variable of deviated from the set point or has left the normal range. Sensor naman is a component of a steady state mechanism since senses the value of variable and sends data onto a control center. And the sensor was the thing that sends data to the control center. The control center is a component or mechanism which motor sends signal to keep a variable steady. The control center was the signal sender to a effector. The effector is an organ gland muscle. This is the effector is the one who's tell what will happen to its body. Of the negative feedback. Negative feedback is a negative feeding back of a body of a human or an animal. Here the body temperature. Thermoregulation involves negative feedback that lower or raise the raise the temperature. Cooling down the temperature regulated center human when hypotenuse receive that data from sensor in the skin and brain body temperature is higher than set value. It will respond as follow. Okay, number one, the blood vessel in the skin dilate, allowing more blood from nucleus to flow to the surface of a body so that heat can be dissipated to the environment. Two, as the blood flow to the skin increase the sweat glands in the skin are activated to increase sweat output. When sweat evaporated from the surface of the skin into the surrounding, it takes any heat. 3. Breathing becomes deeper and a person may breathe through the mouth instead of through the nose. This increases the heat of loss from the lungs. Another negative feedback is the heat up heat up is a temperature regulator center the of the brain. Receive data from the human body temperature is lower than the set point. It initiate the following response. Number one, the blood vessel of the skin constrict to the to prevent blood from flowing near and surface of the body. This reduces heat loss from the surface. 2. When temperature drops, it triggers random signals from the skeletal muscle, causing them to contract. This causes shaking when generates a small amount of heat. Third, the thyroid gland can stimulated by the brain secrete more thyroid hormones. This hormone increase the metabolic activity and heat production of the entire body of the cell. 4. It can also stimulate an adrenal gland and secrete the hormone adrenaline. This hormone causes glycogen to be broken down into glucose, which can be used as an energy source. This catabolism chemically produce process and ex- blood glucose. Another negative feedback. When controlling blood sugar level containing and cell endocrine in the purchase trace are called alpha and beta cell, which can detect level of glucose in the blood. Then they respond appropriately to keep the sugar level within the normal range. Here are some example, some cause of it. If the body sugar level exceed the normal range, the pancreatic pancreatic beta cell release the hormone insulin into the blood. Insulin sends a signal to allow cell to absorb excess glucose in the blood until blood sugar level falls to normal range. If the blood glucose level falls below the normal range, pancreatic alpha cell release an hormone glucagon into bloodstream. Glucagon signal cell breakdown. Yeah. Positive feedback. A positive feedback loop is a feedback is used to enhance or response until endpoint reach. Example of process control by positive feedback in a human body include blood clotting and childbirth. Blood clotting. Yan. The bad blood clotting is the one who stops some loss of tissue. Like if you have a wound, the blood clotting will react into it to stop the loss of blood by the help of platelets in the blood begins in the blood. Childbirth, giving a child, giving a birth to a child. That is it. That's the meaning of it. Here, when homeostasis fail, homeostatic mechanism continues to work to maintain the body's stable state. However, sometimes mechanism fail. If this done, it can cause imbalance of homeostasis, causing the cell to not get everything they need, or toxic waste may accumulate in the body. If the homeostasis cannot be restored, the imbalance may lead to illness and even death. So, the if homeostasis fail or out of balance, the body system will have sick or will get tired of having it, and it lead to illness or sometimes death. Other lesson. So this is the end of the lesson. Another lesson. Type of animal. Vertebrate and invertebrate. Vertebrate are the one that has a spinal cord uh and some bone. Here's the example of it. Yan. Sabi the turtle, bird, whale, groundhog, amphibians, fishes. Next is the invertebrate animal. The invertebrate animal, they don't have backbone or any spinal cord. Yeah. Okay, to give you an big information, human is a type of animal also, and we belong to omnivores. Omnivores is the kind of animal that can eat plants and can be plant herbivores or carnivores.